Hello and welcome to yet another exciting episode on Mama Nation. My name is Colette Ndlovu and I'm your host on this channel. I know a lot of people are getting shocked at my hairdo. Listen, you know what? Like I said, I'm actually on a journey where I'm just trying something new, and I've just decided to just go far and above and beyond my own imagination and thoughts and expressions. But I'm just genuinely on a journey of finding myself. And you know what? I actually like it. I genuinely really like it. I will be doing a full video of how we came to be about with this hairstyle. But you know what? I said to my daughter, because she said to me, have you had this type of hair before? I said to her, no. The last time I had this sort of hair, I've only had my head bald probably once, and that was when my dad was still alive, and that I was probably around 9, 10. That's when I remember. I think we had done something and my father was not happy. So he wanted to, it was his way of punishment. So that's why I've never really gone bald. I have had my hair short before, but I've never really had it bald like this, because it just used to remind me of my dad being upset. So that's why I just never used to cut my head bald. But this time, yesterday I was talking to my brother. I was on the phone with my brother. And we were just chatting because he recently had his head done as well, and he went bald. And I was laughing at him, and he's like, you know what, sometimes in life you just need a fresh start. And I've been wanting, because of many other things in the background, like I said, I will be doing a video separately about how I came about to have my head this bald. I genuinely love it. The more you should, the how I felt when I actually had my first shower after I'd cut my hair was phenomenal. I have not felt like that in many years. But anyway, enough of my hairdo. I love it. I hope you do too. You tell me in the comments there what your thoughts are, your first thoughts were when you when you saw the video. So anyway, like I said, this is a place where we can feel free, relax, let our hair down, and just be ourselves and have conversations. Let's talk. Yeah. So on today's topic, we are finalizing on healing the inner child. I had a chat with you yesterday or a couple of days back when we were just, talking about the effects of, not healing, the effects of, past traumas, childhood traumas, things that we carry into our parenthood, things that we carry into our marriages, things that we carry into our day-to-day lives, because we have not necessarily healed from that. So today I want to sort of conclude. I know this is a topic that we can never exhaust, because the more you talk about it, the more you hear feedback from people, and you hear that, people actually have gone through so much in life, and it's stuff that, sometimes they've just carried for years, for generations, and they cannot have conversations about it. Like I've said, in this platform, our aim is to discuss anything and everything that affects us as a community, as a church, as a family, as a unit. Because at the end of the day, we are about healing ourselves, not only healing one person, but healing the entire family, healing generations. Because we are saying no more to those generations where, generational hurt, generational anger, disappointments, rejections are carried throughout. And these are innocent people that just literally inherit anger, pain, and we have families that don't talk to each other because siblings were not talking to each other. We have families that hate each other, but if you were to ask them today, why don't you talk to your nephews or your cousins and so, and they would just tell you, honestly, I don't know, because my mom said we shouldn't talk to them, or Nkulu said we shouldn't talk to them, or there's been stuff, people growing up, there's been a lot of stuff that's been happening, and people get to a point where sometimes you can't even ask for help from certain people because of the issues that are in the background. So we are about talking about that and ensuring that all those things are dealt with so that we can move and live our best version of ourselves. Listen, I'm living in the best version of my life at the minute, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I am the happiest I've ever been, because not only because I get to have this platform to talk to different people from all different parts of the world, but also because as I'm doing this, as I'm having these conversations with people, I'm healing myself. I know there's parts of me that probably still need to be healed, that I still will need to revisit and have conversations with my own self. So if I can do that, I know you too can do that, because at the end of the day, we're here to help each other. So while on the topic of, concluding healing the inner child, we did discuss in the previous podcast, things that affect us, especially as women. You get into marriages, you're upset, you're hurting, you've got a lot of things that are going on in you. You've got a certain perspective, or your mind has been conditioned to behave a certain way. Your mind has been conditioned to, speak a certain way, carry yourself a certain way. Or many times, a lot of women carry a lot of loads on their shoulders because they believe they should do it. Or men even, they carry everything. And even though it's hard, they cannot do it. Some people end up, that's why you hear someone just went to sleep and they never woke up. They're carrying so much, and they don't believe that they should share it with anyone. They don't believe they should speak up, to protect themselves, or, to say, listen, I know I should be carrying the weight as the man of the house. I know I should be doing everything, but this is just a little teeny bit heavy for me. Can you help me? Speak out. Ask for help. Talk to somebody. You are not less of a human being when you ask for help, because I think a lot of people get stuck up in situations because they are afraid to speak, they're afraid to ask for help, they're afraid to talk about the things that they're going through. Why? Because it's taboo, or you're not man enough when you express that you're tired. You're not man enough when you express that you can't do certain things. There are men, some giftings are different. Some men are very good at cooking. They'll cook up a storm. I've got uncles that cook for their wives. My personal brother, he cooks. He loves cooking. And time and again, when he's available and he's at home, he's not working, he does cook for my sister. And I know she knows that, and she enjoys that, and she appreciates that. And for me, that is partnership. That is marriage. Because at the end of the day, it's not about making life difficult for anybody. Like I always say on this platform, if you cannot make somebody's life any better, please, I plead with you, do not make it any worse than it already is, because the world out there is heavy, it's hectic. So if you're going to make anybody or any difference in anyone's life, please, if you have the capability, just try and do your best to make it as less harder as you can. If you can make it any simpler, please go ahead and do that. If you see that somebody needs your assistance, help them. It does not have to be something that's going to be given back to you. You do not have to gain from it. Because let's talk about this for a minute. Let's actually circle on this for a minute. Have you noticed how with a lot of people only like you, and I say this in quotes because, again, I stand corrected, but I don't think it's liking. If you're only going to appreciate my presence because of what I can give you, or because of what services I can provide for you. Personally, I don't think that's right. And I want to call it out, because why are you only tolerating me, or why are you only appreciating me because you are gaining from me? What's that about? Why are we doing that? Because and correct me if I'm wrong, but shouldn't it be, I genuinely like you because of who you are, or I genuinely like you because you're a good person? Why should I like you or allow you in my space because I'm benefiting from you? Because, like it or not, this is the reality. I think as I'm growing older, I'm actually starting to realize, oh, okay, so and so only liked me, or they tolerated me because they could benefit from me. The moment the benefits stop, or the moment I cannot be there for them, they withdraw, or they start behaving some kind of way, they're not available, you call them. Have you had people where if they've got issues or they want something, they will call you and you are there? If they need help wherever and whatever, they know they can call you, they know they can count on you. But when the tables are turned around, you are looking for help, they're not there. They're nowhere to be found. They're not available. They're too busy. They're working. They're just not available. And you're like, wait a minute, is this relationship one-sided, or how does it work? Because relationships should be two ways. And I shouldn't only tolerate you because of what I benefit from you. I shouldn't only, accept you or pretend to like you because, I know, okay, if I need a driver, Coletta is going to, do the errands for me. Or if I need this and I need that done, I know she's my girl. She's jacked up like that, so she's going to do A, B, C, D, and F. Why are we being like that? Where's that? What's that about? Let's call it out. Because the more I'm talking to people, the more I'm realizing there's a lot of people that do that. Christians, non-Christians. And I'm calling out the Christians because I'm like, excuse you, you should know better. That's not what the Bible calls us to do. And we're not even talking about the Bible right now at the minute, because if we're to go in there, honestly, we call out some of those things that you all are doing out there, for me, I'm like, that's a no-no, man. Come on, And it's things like this, and I know it's not, it's not stuff that has just come out of nowhere. This is generationally passed. A lot of people, the way that you behaved is how you were groomed, how you were brought up, how things were being done in the home. So if your mother only appreciated Auntie so and so because Auntie so and so is in the diaspora, she can provide, she will send US dollars or she will send what to us, then we treat Auntie so and so, because she's the rich aunt. We can treat her a certain type of way. Then here is Auntie Coletta, who's just here, in the country with us. She really is just trying to survive. And we just, we call her when there's big funerals and we need her to cook and what's that about? No, let's be realistic. Why are we doing that? These are the traumas that we're talking about, honestly. And people need to heal. You need to heal. You cannot treat people based on what they've got, materialistic stuff. And this is why certain people then stay in their cocoon. People stay in a certain, bubble because they're so scared. If I even open my mouth, who's going to even listen to me? This is why when we are having a conversation, if it's a group of us, we're having a conversation, so and so is trying to speak and everybody keeps cutting in and they think it's okay, I call it out immediately. I'm like, hang on a minute, you were saying? And we let this person speak. Why? Because people take it for granted. Just because so and so is soft spoken or because they're not considered as somebody somewhere, people are just going to, that's not okay. First of all, that's not like Christ-like. That, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. That's just wrong on every level. And this is the stuff that we get to experience as we grow, and we get to experience. People will call out. I've had friends in the past that I knew if their number is ringing my phone, I know it's going to be high, and the next sentence is going to be, I need A, B, C, and D. And initially, because I'm a person who's so giving, I'm a person who'd always want to go above and beyond for people that I care about. And sometimes people take that for granted. So I started calling it out when I noticed, listen, so and so is only going to call me because they need help. They're never going to call on me or just pick up the phone or just even a text to say, hey, I'm just checking on you. How are you doing? Is everything okay? Because why? In their head, they've always figured, well, she's got it figured out. She's the strong one, so she's okay. But how about you just check and find out if I'm genuinely okay? Because I can say I'm okay to you because I'm used to that. I'm used to, carrying the entire load and surviving through it. But how about you just pick up the phone and just text, listen, I know you said okay, but are you really okay? How are you doing? Is there anything I can do to help you? Chances still going to tell you, yeah, I'm okay. Or chances I'm still going to tell you, listen, I'm good. I'm covered. I've got this. Even though I've got bills that are pending, even though I don't have food in my house or whatever the case may be. But that's how strong people, tend to be. They tend to be, they're not used to asking for help. So sometimes you don't even need to ask for the help. Just go there, show up, go to them, give them the help. They don't have to ask. Listen, I spoke about this in my podcast the other day, and I said there are certain people, you already know the kind of people that they are, especially if it's somebody who is considered to be strong. Check on them. Those people that you consider to be strong, I plead with you, check on them, because the bulk of them go through stuff and they cannot speak out. They cannot talk about what's going on, probably because of their past experiences, probably because of the rejection they've gotten in the past if they tried to speak out. And sometimes they've just learned the art of survival, and they've just learned that nobody's coming. There's no help coming. So because there's no help coming, I'm just going to have to survive. I've been in that rut before where I don't speak out. I would just generally just make it work. Find ways to make it work. That's how I've always survived the bulk of my life. But I've been in an era where I've realized, listen, when I actually speak up and I open up and I say, listen, and of course, don't get me wrong, it's not everybody that you should open up to, because there are certain people that you open up to and they'll mess you up left, right, and center. They literally will make your life a misery. So you need to have the wisdom, but you also need to have the guidance of Christ, to teach you and to help you understand that there are certain people that you will need to speak to. Just being in certain environments, your inner gut. I would say, some can say it's the inner gut. I would say the Holy Spirit will help you. The Holy Spirit will tell you, this person is right, or this is not an atmosphere that you should be opening up about anything about your life. There are certain people that just being in their presence, you can tell, I shouldn't be opening up my mouth. We can talk about anything else, but when it comes to my life, because certain things, when you air them out prematurely, you destroy your destiny, you destroy your future, because there are people that are just aren't, they're just not supposed to hear certain things before it's flourished, before it's matured, because they will kill the seed. And that's a topic for another day. All I'm just saying is you really need to be very attuned to atmospheres. You need to really, really, really just, be alert in your spirit, in who you share things with and how things are shared, how information is moved from one place to the other, because when it comes to your dreams, when it comes to your vision and things that are important to you, you really need to be careful, because there are people out there that will just not let it. Why? Because again, remember we spoke about this. Certain people have put you in a certain box. They're okay for you to rise, but you can only get to a certain level. The moment you begin to sort of pass that level, and you are going to a certain level, they're like, hang on, you're not supposed to go there. We need to bring you down to this is where you're supposed to be. And because of that, they start pulling you down. They start pulling your ideas down. They start planting seeds of doubt of whether you can do it. Or better still, they'll start reminding you of your past. Oh, remember you were like this. Or remember you've done this. Surely you can do that. And sometimes they won't even say it directly. There are some people that are crude like that will say it into your face. But there are some people that will just plant people, and they start, employing people to hate on you. They'll start, employing people to say certain things. Some, because now we live in a digital world, social media and all that. Then you have those trolls that will start, commenting, saying all sorts of things. And you're thinking, but this person doesn't even know me. Why are they? They could genuinely be trolls, but some of them are people that you actually know that are coming in the disguise of trolls, trying to pull you down. Why? Because they are not used to, the person that you are becoming. So they're trying to get you to a level where they deem is perfect for where you're supposed to be. Because the moment you start to soar a bit higher than they suspected or than they thought, because some people will let you. I had a conversation actually the other day with an elderly lady. I love this lady dearly. And, we were just talking about, she had just visited home, and, she was building and stuff and all that. And she was telling me her story. And I love listening to elderly women because I believe there's certain wisdoms that you can get from there. And we're just talking about her life story and her journey, how she's done certain things, and, how her success and everything. And she was just telling me, it's so sad how sometimes the people that you trust the most are the ones that start, pulling you down. Because she was talking about how when she started building her first business, she built it, and they were like, if they were cheering her, yeah, you can just sell, you can open up a little market and sell tomatoes and sell shoes, and it ends there. Because in their heads, they've put you there to say, okay, you can reach up to here, but once you start, going a little bit above that, it's like, hang on, you need to come back down here. They started, planting seeds and telling all sorts of things. Anyway, to cut the long story short, it just became a big hoo-ha where now even the family was getting involved. People are just, there's all these fights and, lies being told. They sent things her way, things that destroyed the things that she had built from the ground up. And that really just broke me, because I'm like, and I remember asking her this question, are you sure these are your siblings? Like, blood, same mother, same father? She says, yes, people that I grew up with. And that just broke me. I'm like, what kind of a world are we living in? Because how on earth am I hurting that my brother is succeeding? How on earth am I hurting that my brother is excelling in life? Surely their success should mean to me, first of all, it should remind me that I am also capable. Because if my blood brother has reached a certain level, surely it should say to me, I can also get to that level, and I can even exceed that level, right? Or if they've gotten there, surely it should mean that I also have the capability. So why are we hating on each other? Why are we even allowing that in our space? So this goes back to our, the traumas that people have gone through. This goes back to, the things that people have gone through, and they've carried it for generations. So now imagine, now those families are just not going to be together anymore, because there's issues now because somebody's just jealous that, my sister's done well for herself. And I'm thinking, what is stopping you from doing well for yourself? What is stopping you from imitating that same person? I tell you, like, I read up on people that have made it in life. I read up on them. I follow through their channels and all that. Why? Because I aspire to get there, and I know I'm going to get there. But I'm not just going to get there by waking up and deciding, oh, I'm getting there. I need to put in the work. And this is where a lot of us get stuck in. We want to get into a certain level, but we don't want to put in the work. We don't want to. You cannot expect to say, I'm 50 kgs now, I want to get to maybe 30 kgs. So I can't just wake up and be 30 kgs. I have to put in the work for me to get to a certain level. So it's all about putting in the work. But part of putting in the work is dealing with these things mentally, emotionally, physically. We have to deal with these things, And so I'm hoping genuinely that in the past talks that we have had, especially with healing the inner child, all those things that, that have conditioned us, that have shaped our lives, that has shaped our thinking, our behaviors, that have shaped everything that we know. Our world has been framed based on how we were raised up, based on what environments we grew up. I am hoping we can get to a space where we can start to break it down, to say, okay, this is what I learned. Can I shelf this because it's not serving me at the moment? This relationship, yes, I've had it for so many years. I might need it for the future. Can I shelve it for now? Because the season I'm in does not require this kind of energy. I need to get to a certain level. And for me to get to a certain level, there's certain energy that I need to carry with. Otherwise, I'm going to faint before I get to that level. You understand what I'm talking about? So I'm genuinely hoping through this podcast, as we go over the weeks, we can actually get to a point where we learn and understand that there are certain things that you're going to have to wave goodbye to. There's certain behaviors, certain relationships that you are going to have to wave goodbye to, so that you can agree and get to a level where you say, okay, now I can grow. Now I have room. Because remember, you are the main character in your life. You are the only person present 24/7 in your life. Now, if you cannot condition you, nobody else, well, other people can condition you because you've given them the script, you've given them the lead role in your life. So you need to remember you're the lead character, and you being the lead character, you need to describe and to define the script. Okay? So this is your girl Coletta, and it's been such a pleasure sitting, having these conversations with you. Listen, I will talk for days. You know me. I enjoy this space because this is where I become myself. This is where I just have fun. I just talk about things that I'm passionate about. But again, like I always say, if you've got something that you want to discuss, if you've got questions, topics that you believe should be discussed, or just a conversation that you want to have with me, I am available. Take advantage of this. Put your comment in the description. My website, our links are all in the bio. Let's meet up, let's link up, let's have these conversations. But most of all, if I can ask you, share this with as many people as you can, and also like, subscribe, and so that we can come back with more powerful quotes, with more information that we can spread out there. Because remember, our goal is we want to heal the whole person. We want to heal the whole family, a community, a family, a society. We want to get to a place where people can live the best life ever. Your girl Coletta, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.